누구야? 만나는 사람이야?
아니야. 그냥 아는 여자야.
Hey everyone, Tyler here at The Movie Beat. I just want to wish everyone out there a very safe and happy new year. And I want to leave you with a brief review for one of my favorite romantic comedy films, Korean romantic comedy films of all time. It's from 2004 called Someone Special. It was written and directed by Jang Jin, and it stars Lee Na-young and Jung Jae-young. So this director, Jang Jin, is probably most well known for his writing. He wrote the great films like Welcome to Dong McCall, and even Ditto was an early writing credit of his. But he's a really well-established playwright here in Korea, and every now and then he gets actually a writing and a directing credit on some of his films. I'll leave a link in the comment box of two of his previous films that I believe I reviewed on this channel, the quiz show Scandal and Man on High Heels. That's definitely one of my favorites of his, as well as Guns and Talks, one of his original directed films. So this one, without a doubt, like I said, is one of my favorite all-time romantic comedy films. It did come out, of course, after My Sassy Girl, which really became sort of the new gold standard as far as romantic comedy films are concerned, at least as far as I'm concerned. But I do feel like a lot of the romantic comedies that came out of Korea at the time were kind of trying to recreate some of the magic that was in My Sassy Girl, and whether it was through similar like dramatic beats or just kind of trying to recreate that unconventional sort of lopsided relationship dynamic with a really dominant character like we saw in Sassy Girl with that sass that she had, of course. But this one really, which this writer-director Jang Jin does so well, is he defies a lot of the expectations, and his characters are just so unconventional. So we really have kind of the opposite when it comes to the female lead in this one, played by Lee Na-young. She's very introverted, she's shy, she's unassuming, she wears a lot of like baggy clothing, just really not your, at the time at least, the definition of like your main lead beauty standard that someone's going to just fall head over heels for. Of course, she is very beautiful as an actress, but the man character in this one is also very unconventional. He's a pro baseball player, but he's a hopeless romantic as well. He's basically spent his whole life trying to fall in love. He's in his early 30s, and he really hasn't even found his first love yet. And to make matters worse, his most recent girlfriend dumps him basically near or on the same day that he gets a diagnosis, a surprise diagnosis from his doctor that he does have a terminal illness, and he's given about 3 months left to live. So the main character, he will mortgage his house, he's gonna basically give up on his baseball career and just sort of live his last 3 months in quiet solitude, just very sad. And then it kind of gets turned upside down, all of his plans of just basically being sad for himself. Surprise, we've got this woman here now that's interested in him. So the day he finds out his diagnosis, he goes drinking at one of his favorite bars that she is actually a bartender at. Of course, he never notices her. She's, like I said, she's very unassuming. But he drinks himself to sleep, and he wakes up and he's in a hotel room, doesn't know how he got there, and she is sitting in a chair just kind of staring at him sweetly, and she lets him know that she carried him there in a box, and she paid for the hotel, don't worry, you can pay me back later. And this is kind of how she starts, she's really putting, she's being very brave in doing all of these things despite her personality. So she gets she actually writes some letters to the radio station. Maybe mostly women would write some of their diary entries, usually love stories, and send them in, and radio DJs would read them. So he's hearing this story about a woman who carried a drunken man in a box to a hotel, And obviously it's just this woman likes the guy, so he's like, what's going on? And he's heard it more than once on several different radio broadcasts. So she wins like a cell phone for being like number one in the letter, and she wants to give him the phone. So they just start this great little unusual relationship that takes him some time to figure out that she might be the one for him. With this character, he is so obsessed with love and everything, pondering that he is going to go to his grave and never have experienced it. He's definitely on his last leg, like in more ways than one. So when this woman, played by Lee Na-young, sort of magically appears before his eyes, he is so just in the dumps, but also, like I said, he's just kind of blinded by his idealistic interpretation of love that he really does not see her in the way that she is giving these sort of very timid advances towards him. It actually turns out that she has known him for a very long time. She knows quite a bit about him, and he knows very, very little about her. But when he does start to kind of get to know her, his interpretation or his idea of love is able to evolve, and he's going to spend his remaining time with someone special. So that's kind of the title of the film, but the Korean title is actually just A는 Yeoja, which means a girl I know. So maybe that implies someone special, but just the literal meaning is just she's just a girl. She's just someone I know. Nothing special there. So it's kind of fun how they play with that title with the Korean in the film. But anyways, this movie also does a really good job at poking fun at a lot of I would say genre tropes, but it finds a way to also embrace those same tropes and make them very fresh for itself. So there's like a scene in the movie where the two end up going to a movie because she like won some movie tickets with one of her letters to the radio, and the main character, his character, narrates just how stupid and pathetic or dumb this like romantic movie was that they were watching. Some of those key features of that film actually are or do become part of someone special, and the way that it does that was sort of ingenious as far as I'm concerned with the writing and everything. I love the soundtrack in this one. The ballads that are very memorable from this, I'll put those up on YouTube and just listen to them. They're just so good. I love the music in this film. Also, this movie might have some points that might frustrate people slightly, I feel like, because we have this man, Chi-sung, who's so desperate for love, and then finally when it comes right into his face, he can't see it. Like, what's going on? That might be frustrating, but I do feel like that's kind of the point of this movie, that he's so overly idealistic about love and what his interpretation is of it, that he's blinded by actually the real thing. And the movie does some fun ways, has some fun ways of showing this. The main character, he encounters like bank robbers, house thieves, and everyone's ducking and screaming. He's standing there, he's basically content with his looming death. So he's unafraid and sort of just lectures these criminals about how even though they are living very difficult lives, they need to do their best to live well, and that they have a choice. They have a choice to live, and he doesn't. He'll start lecturing them about, do you even know what the meaning of love is? And he brings these criminals to their knees humbly. And the ironic thing is, these criminals will answer like very simply about what love is. It's just you ask a girl how old she is and what her favorite food is, and then you start loving her. Or love is just love. And the great thing about this movie is that's basically the story that the main character kind of accepts. Like, bro, maybe he is overthinking things. And then at that point, a lot of the magic starts taking place in this film. And I don't want to give too much of away, but this movie is so great for this time of year because it really has that feeling of starting things from a new perspective, or trying to get a clean slate that you might imagine for yourself going into the new year, like we do with New Year's resolutions and whatnot. So I just can't recommend this movie enough. It puts a smile on my face pretty much from start to finish. So please let me know what you guys think of Someone Special if you get a chance to watch it. It's my biggest recommendation for New Year's. I'm going to rate this one a very, very strong 8.5 out of 10. And unfortunately, this is one of them that I do not actually have the case with me, but I just have the disc here that I can show you. This is the main character, or one of the main characters, played by Lee Na-young. You can see kind of her little, kind of sweet, quirky side to her there. But this one was a 2-disc special edition. I don't believe that it actually came with a slipcase, but it is very, very high up on my wish list for most wanted Blu-rays, please. This would be an awesome 2021 gift, but that's, again, very, very wishful thinking. But just wanted to show you that. That's all I got really for physical media on this one. Let me know again what you guys think of it in the comments below. That's probably going to be my last one for this year, so please, once again, have a very safe and happy New Year's, and I'll see you guys in 2021. So until then, I'm Tyler here at The Movie Beat. Just keep watching movies.